Have you ever felt like you're just going through the motions? Well, today we're diving into a passage in the Gospel of John that really cuts to the heart of our purpose. It's all about the call to spiritual labor, shifting our focus from our day-to-day needs to a mission that is way bigger and way more urgent. Let's get into it. So picture this. The scene is set at a well in Samaria. Jesus is totally exhausted. He's hungry from his journey. And his disciples finally show up with food, telling him, hey, you gotta eat. But he says no. And that sets up this really fascinating question that drives this whole passage. Why on earth would a hungry, tired man turn down food? The answer, as we'll see, reveals a profound truth about what truly matters. To really unpack this, we're going to walk through 5 key ideas. First, we'll look at what Jesus meant by a different kind of food. Then we'll dive into the idea of an urgent harvest, the wages you get for the work. We'll see a harvest of believers happen in real time. And finally, we'll talk about the shared mission of sowing and reaping. Okay, first up, a different kind of food. This is where we see this huge clash between how the disciples see the world and how Jesus is trying to get them to see it. And you can really see the contrast here. On the one hand, you've got the disciples. All they can think about is lunch, right? Satisfying that temporary physical craving. They just weren't thinking on a deeper spiritual level yet. But then you have Jesus. His mind is somewhere else entirely. It's on spiritual food, on getting the mission done that he was sent here to do. And this is his incredible response. My food is to do the will of him who sent me and to finish his work. Wow. That one sentence is the key to this entire passage. For Jesus, doing God's work wasn't just a task, it was the very thing that sustained him. So what exactly is this will and work that's more satisfying than bread? Well, it's the mission. It's about leading people to that living water he just offered the Samaritan woman, the kind that quenches your soul's thirst. It's about actively seeking out and saving people who are lost. That is the spiritual food he's talking about. Now, this leads directly into our second point, the urgent harvest. See, it's not enough to just know what the work is. Jesus makes it crystal clear that the time to do it is right now. He gives this dramatic command, lift up your eyes and look on the fields, for they are white already for harvest. You can almost see it as he's saying this. Hundreds of Samaritans in their white robes are literally walking across the fields toward them. He's telling the disciples, hey, stop looking down at your lunch and look up at the sea of people who are ready to listen. But why are they ready now? What makes this moment so perfect? Well, the idea is that God's Spirit has already done the prep work. People out there are feeling a deep thirst for something more. They're aware of their own flaws, they're feeling empty and without purpose. They are totally primed for the message of a Savior. And this just shows you how high the stakes are. This is not a task you can put on the back burner. Just like a real harvest, if you wait too long, the fruit just rots on the vine and it's lost for good. The opportunity is now, and if it's missed, those souls could be lost forever. The urgency is just palpable. Okay, so the work is defined, the timing is urgent, but what's the motivation? Why should we do it? That brings us to our third section, wages for the work. This is not some thankless job. There are actually some incredible rewards for getting involved. And these rewards are profound. Sure, laborers get wages from God and the fruit they gather has eternal value, but it's so much more than that. There's a shared joy in doing this together. It's a privilege to be personally chosen and sent by Christ himself. And it's an honor to build on the work of all the great people who came before us. So how did all of this theory actually play out in the story? Well, this brings us to the really exciting parts, the immediate results. A harvest of believers. You can see it happen like a chain reaction. It's incredible. First, Jesus reaps the soul of the Samaritan woman. Then, she immediately runs into the city and starts sowing the seed with her story. And because of what she said, a whole bunch of Samaritans believe. That's the first harvest. And that leads to an even bigger harvest when they invite Jesus to stay, and tons more people believe after hearing him for themselves. And the proof is right here in verse 39. Many believed on him for the saying of the woman. Her one act of sharing her story, of sowing that seed, immediately produced a harvest. It's the perfect real-world example of what Jesus was just trying to teach his distracted disciples. And what was the ultimate results of all this labor? Well, it was a world-changing confession. These Samaritans, people who were considered outcasts, came to the incredible conclusion that Jesus isn't just a prophet, he is the Christ, the Savior of the world. Now that is the fruit of the harvest. That amazing chain reaction we just saw, it perfectly sets up our fifth and final point, the principle of sowing and reaping. And this is so crucial to understand. No one person does it all. This whole mission is a team sport. The task is just too big. Some people are called to be sowers. Their job is to plant the seeds of the gospel. And others are called to be reapers. Their job is to bring in a harvest that maybe somebody else prepared the ground for. Both roles are absolutely essential. And guess what? Both get to share in the joy of the final result. So, we're left with this final, really challenging question. It's clear the spiritual harvest is urgent, it's rewarding, and it's a team effort. We see that one person plants the seed, another one reaps the fruit. So the question this whole passage leaves for us to think about is, what is your part in that harvest?